Flosstube. We're trying something a little different today. We're in my craft room slash office, the croffice. I had a few bags I needed to make, so I thought I will attempt to shoot a video to kind of show you guys how I do them. Angles wise, it might be kind of weird, but we'll do the best we can. If it doesn't work out, I just don't have to post it, right? So I thought I'd start with just showing you, I have everything cut out to kind of show you what you need for the bags that I make. And I should have grabbed one that's already done, but I didn't. So I have a piece of fabric, 15 by 15. This will be the back. For the front, I cut a piece that's 11 by 15. And then another smaller piece that's 5 by 15, and this will be what I use for the top. I like to add a piece of trim in mine, so I cut that about 16 inches, maybe 17. I have my zipper. I usually use 18-inch zippers. It gives me a little wiggle room. You can buy them on Amazon like a giant pack. All kinds of colors, black and white, whatever you want. 2 pieces, 15 by 15 of your inside fabric, and 2 pieces of interfacing. I like to use Pellon 950F Sure Tailor. I don't know if that will focus or not, but it's Pellon 950F. It's a little bit stiffer. My sewing machine can't handle like the fleece. It needs something light enough that I cannot break my needle, but thick enough that it holds up to the bag. A regular foot, a zipper foot, some pins or clips. I like the clips. A pair of scissors. I have a rotary cutter and a cutting board. You could do this by hand if you didn't have those things. So I do, so that's what I use. I have a cat now on the interfacing I tossed on the floor. So this will be in clips. I'll do my best for the angles. So what I'm going to do first is sew together the front of my bag. So the front of the bag was the 15 by 11, the 15 by 5, and the trim. So I'm going to move the camera and try and show you how I put those together. Okay, this angle is kind of weird, but we'll make it work. So I have my 15 by 11, here's my 5 by 11, and here's my trim. So I'm going to put this trim right up against the edge of the right side of the fabric. And then I'm going to take the right side of my facing fabric and put it down. So my right sides are together with the trim sandwiched in between. Then I'll just kind of clip this on there a little bit. And again, you can use pins if that's what you have. So then I'll take this to the sewing machine. I can't sew anything with you because my table here is a very classy folding table. And this sewing machine jiggles the entire thing, so no one wants to sit through that. I'm just gonna run a quick, like 1/4 inch hem right along the edge, fold it back up and press it. All right, so I sewed these 2 pieces together, flipped it up, pressed it down real good, and now I have the front of my bag. So now the next step is to put on the interfacing. The interfacing will go on both of your outside fabrics. So this interfacing, if you've never used it before, the textures are different. It's nice and smooth and soft on one side and bumpy and rough on the other side. And the bumpy rough stuff is the glue. So you flip it to the back side, put your interfacing on, and once you've been sewing the interfacing that we cut 15 by 15, or if you cut it by hand, I cut mine by hand so it's a little bigger. It's a little bigger than my fabric, and that's fine. The interfacing has directions on the packaging on how to iron it on. It's just kind of a lower heat. So we're going to iron this on, and then I'll flip it over once it's ironed on, and I'll trim all this excess so that it's the same size. So I'll do this on this front panel that we just did, as well as the 15 by 15 back panel. All right, I just ironed on my interfacing. I should have mentioned, I like to put an old towel down under them because sometimes this glue, if it's bigger than your piece, it makes a mess of your ironing board cover. So I just put an old towel down and then I can throw that in the wash. So I'm just trimming up these edges right to the edge of my fabric. Like you just saw, I cut that little scrap of leftover ribbon off. Do the same on this side. And if these aren't, like this one's a little not perfectly square, it all works out in the end. These are just for us, right? They don't have to be perfect. So there's that one. And I'll do the same to the back. You can hear my iron, the steam. This one got a little crooked when I put it on, so I have extra. So next up will be the zipper. I've been making bags for a few years and I've gotten better at the zipper. I was very intimidated when I first started. I tried different methods. So the way that I'm going to show you is just how I do it. There are fancier ways to do it, but I've never had a problem with mine. It goes on easy. It looks good in the end, so that's just the way that I do it. All right, here's that. So, zipper. We'll start with the bag, the front. So we have our front panel, and we have our zipper. There's a right side and a front and a back, I guess, to your zipper. So the part that you'll open is like the top of the zipper. So we put the top of the zipper down so that when you open it, you'll turn it and it will be right. So we put the top of the zipper down right to the edge of the bag. And then we take a piece of our inside fabric and we put the right side down. So we're sandwiching that zipper right in between the two fabrics. And then you'll take your pins or your clips and just kind of pin it in. And you just kind of want a little on each end. I like using a zipper that's a few inches bigger so that it's easier to work with in my machine. So we're going to pin this in and then put on your zipper foot and go about a 1/4 inch right along this whole length. So we'll do a 1/4 inch and then you turn it and you iron it. Okay, here's the first side of our bag. So like I said, I ironed that down about a 1/4 inch, flipped it back, and pressed it down. And when I pressed it down, I kind of tugged these fabrics pretty good to get it away from the zipper. Then what I like to do, and this is kind of an extra step, it's not necessary, but I think it helps keep the fabric away from your zipper. I kind of fold it all up so I can get it out of my way. And I turn it this way and I run another just right inside that fabric. I just run a little line all the way down and that will keep this fabric down from creeping up into the way of your zipper. All right, so like I said, I just ran a quick line right along and that way it will kind of keep that inside fabric down away from your zipper. So now for the other side of the zipper, we're just going to make another sandwich. We have our other piece of fabric. If they're directional, just make sure you have the direction going in the way you want it. So mine is directional, so I need these dragons right side up. So directional dragons. Then I'll take the piece we just did, flip it over, and line up those edges. And then we'll take our other backing fabric. I like to use non-directional on the inside. It just makes life easier. And we'll put right side to right side. And again, just line those right up. They won't all match on the bottom. We will trim that up after. So we line all these up as best we can on the top. use our clips or our pins. Sometimes you have to kind of tug it down. I go a little slower on this one to try and keep it all the edges together on the top. Take your time. There's no rush. So those are all clipped. So again, with my zipper foot, I'll do a 1/4 inch seam all the way across and then iron it. Ran the 1/2 inch seam down. Everything's connected. This is the time typically that seems they're all lined up here on the edge. If one side is way off than the other side, like this one is, I'll just take my ruler and square these up a little bit. Okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, where I open them up. I'll press this down as much as I can, and then I'll make this extra little line to hold that away from the zipper, and I'll be right back. Our back panel is now all on. We're done with the zipper foot. I pulled that off. I put my regular foot back on. It kind of helps with the next step to have it a little thicker. So here is our bag. The zipper is in. Insides both show. Outsides both face in the right direction. Now we need to actually sew it down. So, I'm hoping I can fit this all on here. I start by opening the zipper, but just a little bit, so that it kind of still holds these sides together. Then when I have it pinned, I reach in and I open the zipper a good 2/3. So open the zipper a little bit. Take just your outside fabrics and pull them together. Shake it down so then you have just your inside fabrics. So again, here's my outsides. Line those up. Go on down, pull my insides tight. I have some extra, it looks like, on my insides. I'll trim that off in the end, no big deal. So we're going to pin this. I like to start on the zipper side. So here's the inside, there's that bump, that's the inside of my zipper. So I'll take my pins, my clips. I hold the edges of these two zippers together. I'm trying to do this so you can see. I kind of bring them right together and put a clip right on the zipper to kind of hold that in place. Then I just go along this edge, and they won't match perfectly, but again, that's okay. And I clip down. Use as many clips or pins as you want. You can't have too many. Then I flip it over and I try and do the same thing on this side. So as you can see over here, my zipper edges are pointing toward the liner side. So I want to make sure it's the same over here. So here's my zipper edges, and they're pointing toward the liner side. So I have to kind of bend it a little to get it the right way. So I bend them together and I put a clip right on there. Now you can still open this right up and kind of see there's my zipper feet, they're pointing down. Here's still my zipper feet. I got it mixed up. They're still pointing down. So double check. Get them how you want them and put a pin right on it. Then again, I'll go down this side and put a couple clips, kind of smoothing it out as I go. Okay. Now I reach in there and I open that zipper up. It's all the way to here. Halfway would be fine. When it's done, this bag is big enough that you'd be able to reach in. So now that I know the zipper is open, I can put a couple pins here on the end. If they don't line up, I'll trim it up after. Then I just turn it around and I pin the insides together. Smooth it down. I didn't get enough clips out. My very classy Ziploc bag. Okay, so the way of this, I start a couple inches in on the bottom and I will do the forward back thing. I'm sure there's a name for it. And I'll sew all the way around about a 1/4 inch. When I hit this zipper, I'll go over it and then I'll go back and then I'll go over it again just to kind of make it a little extra secure. I'll come all the way around the bag to about 2 inches in on this side. See you in a few minutes. We are almost done. So here's our bag sewn together with that gap on the bottom. So now I'm just going to trim my corners. And I'll also, this is when I'll get rid of any extra fabric, because if it's not there, it will open up and lay better. So here's this zipper, the zipper end. I'm going to go right over it with my rotary cutter. You could go over it with a pair of scissors. I'm just going to cut it right off. There it goes. Right, same thing on the bottom. Down that other side. So there's all our bits. Okay. So then we will reach in the open. I usually unzip my zipper the rest of the way, which you can easily do from inside. And turn it right side out. Get your corners nice and good. Usually I can just poke them out with my finger. You could use a corner turning tool or a shish kebab stick or a pencil, but usually they just pop right out. Look at that. Yeah, oh, no, I thought we lined that one up. That's a pyramid. So get those, and then up at the zipper, just make sure that's open all the way so you can pop that corner out. Okay, there's one side. This side won't really have a point. So here's your bag. So now I will give it an iron. And the way we finish it up is we just take this end of the liner, just turn your edges in, and they'll naturally want to go there because that's how the rest of the fabric is. And then I will sew right across. Even though I've already sewed the 2 inches, I sew the whole thing. Sew it right across. All right, I sewed down the edge. Now all we do is tuck it inside. Push the corners out with your finger. And you're good to go. You have a project bag. I hope that was helpful. I hope the angles were okay. If you have any questions, let me know. I should have said this. I like a 15 by 15 because I usually use an 11 by 11 Q-snap. And I want to make sure it fits and nothing's going to get stuck in the zipper. Experiment, go smaller. If I were doing an 8 by 8 Q-snap bag, this one ends up being about 14 by 14. So it cuts off about an inch in the time you've hemmed and trimmed and whatever. So an 8, I'd probably cut my fabric 12 by 12, but again, I like it a little bigger. If you don't want this look on the front, just do two 15-inch panels or two matching panels. I do tend to put a lighter fabric, like I wouldn't put a red on the inside just because I'm afraid that it would rub off on my fabric over time. So experiment. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys later.